Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, we are DeAndre Hopkins days away from NFL season, otherwise known as Tyreek Hill days away, and we had a great weekend. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we bring in the stars of the show. I see Danny Brasco in the chat. He had a nice little day, 2 for 4 overall, though. 12-6, and we were coming off a 6-1 day. We parlay that into 12-6. Chip Patterson 3 for 3. Tom Casale hits his Kansas bet. Buckets goes 2 out of 3, and more news on that with his leans. And I gotta say, we don't even have David Bierman's outright that he brought onto the show last week, where he spiked Tommy Fleetwood in the without market at 10-1. I hit that as well from the early wedge. So this recap screen is actually a little bit better than it looks, but we'll take 12-6 on the official plays. How about we keep this train rolling, folks? Let's bring in the stars of the show, which includes, of course, Jason Pogwist and Katie Taylor, Joe Neuenfeld, Darren Mercurio, Phil Terrazas, Buckets, Snyper, Mike McClure. Gentlemen, a lot to talk about, but Buckets, you saw that recap screen. It was 12-6, and that didn't even include some of the outrights that we hit from our shows. But if you recall, we had a bunch of likes on the Friday show, and we got those likes because people wanted some of your soccer leans. I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm kind of flying blind here. How did we do on those leans that you gave out?
We did pretty well, not only with the leans, in which we saw a win and a push there, picking up another unit, but we got to remember that Chip and I did a Serie A parlay together, and that cashed as well. Como draw, or let me try this one again. Como double chance, Cagliari, both teams to score, and Jonathan David to score or assist, was hovering around plus 400. That cashed as well, thanks to the man, Chip Patterson.
He was on fire on Friday. And by the way, the mispronunciations in soccer, how does it feel, Buckets? How does it feel?
It's tough. It's tough. I get it. I understand.
Sniper, we are 10 days away from football season. You got a Chicago Bear for us?
Yeah, I was going to say Mitch Trubisky, but let's go back a little bit happier and go Bobby Douglas days away.
Bobby Douglas. If memory serves, Mike and Sniper, was it Mitch Trubisky? Was it the draft that Patrick Mahomes was drafted? He was drafted before Pat Mahomes. Ouch.
I love that Sia's pretending like he doesn't know that. Like, everyone knows that.
The funny thing is, I wanted Deshaun Watson at the time, which obviously would have been at the time.
At the time, it would have been fine. Risky.
Yeah. But yeah, Mahomes, man, it's interesting that, as bad as the Bears have been historically at quarterback development, it would have been interesting to see what happened with Mahomes on the Bears.
For sure.
Mike, one of the things, and I know you had follow-up on what we were just talking about, but one of the things when it comes to the quarterback position is if you get a great quarterback that goes into the wrong situation, you may never find out that he's a great quarterback.
Definitely. And to add to being 10 days, first of all, I would argue it's 9 days, not 10. But
yeah, I know that.
10 days. Do you know what pick Patrick Mahomes ended up being?
13.
14.
Number 10.
10.
Oh, interesting. Well, here we are
in that 2017 draft.
Wow, good stuff. Buckets, do you know who Patrick Mahomes is?
I do know who Patrick Mahomes is. I respect Mike McClure enough to know who Mahomes is.
All right. A lot of people in the chat probably waiting on some picks. So we're actually going to kick things off, Sniper, with some MLB. You've got a bit of a correlated play here. You've got the floor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely correlated here. We're going to go out to Sutter Health Park where the ball flies at night, as we know. I'm going to go with the Tigers on the run line to start. Tarek Skubal on the mound for the Tigers. That's always a good decision to ride the Tigers when Skubal is pitching. But he had 3 starts where he looked kind of human for a second. Last time out, back to being his dominating self. So we're good to go with him against the A's here. The Tigers are back as well. They've won 9 of their last 11 games. The offense has been firing all cylinders. The A's are actually 26-37 at home, which isn't really their home, but it's their home for at least this year and the next 2. So I really like the Tigers here. JT Ginn on the mound for the A's, 6.75 ERA at home. So I'm expecting Skubal to throw well and the Tigers to kind of go bombs away against Ginn, which means let's play that run line, even with a little bit of juice. I don't think it's too much. It's not prohibitive here. So I like that one. Also going to go Riley Green over 1.5 total bases here. He has 5 home runs in his last 14 games. He absolutely feasts on right-handed pitching. 28 of his 31 home runs against righties, if you can believe that. 28 out of 31. JT Ginn against left-handers, he allows a 339 batting average with a 633 slugging, if you can believe that. He absolutely gets destroyed by lefties. So all over Riley Green in this one. If you like Kerry Carpenter as well, that's another place that you can look. But I really like Riley Green in this one, so I'm going to go over 1.5 total bases. And I believe we'll be talking about Mr. Green again.
Yeah, we just might. A little teaser from Matt Snyder. Liddy says, love this pick, Sniper. See you at the pay window. Big Cheesy is going to be at the game. He says, I will be there to watch Scooble. So you love to see that. And then we've got Aaron Bailey. It says, hey, Bucks, did you ever watch the movie Major League? So, Aaron, you must have missed probably the Friday show because, Buckets, you did watch Major League.
I did, because I said my favorite character was the announcer, who is apparently no longer with us. So rest in peace there, but loved the movie.
Bob Uecker, indeed. He is he's masterful in that movie and in general. James A. says, Mike, 150 lineups for opening week Sunday. Of course, he's talking about NFL. And Mike, before you answer that question, everybody go to Fantasy Football Today DFS at Spotify or Apple and make sure you're subscribed to that podcast. Because, Mike, our opening show for Fantasy Football Today DFS, a bit of a primer, a bit of a preview to week 1, is this Thursday.
This Thursday, as far as 150 lineups in week 1, there is a very good chance that that's what I end up doing. They have a unique contest, just a $5 Millie Maker, which is, you're only going to get that twice a year. It's going to be the first week and then the Super Bowl generally. So yeah, I probably will play 150.
Speaking of DFS and game theory, if you watched our early wedge DFS show, and again, me and Mike were on that, and we'll be on the Fantasy Football Today DFS show. I went all out on Scotty Scheffler, and Mike, I think you did a little bit of the same, and I went all in on Patrick Cantlay. It worked out really well. I almost won about, I don't like to talk numbers like this. I didn't win it anyway, 10K, but I ended up winning a lot of money. We just went all in on a couple of unpopular plays, different roster constructions. That's what you can expect during Fantasy Football Today DFS. Let's transition to soccer. Bucket, speaking of correlated plays, I happen to know that this man you have to score or assist plays for Liverpool. How about my research?
I'm proud of you. If you remember, Liverpool was the soccer bet you cashed in which you took them to score at -2,000. So this is a team that
100% right.
You know very well here. So yeah, I do have 2 plays for the same matchup here, guys. It's the Premier League match that everyone's going to be looking at. Newcastle taking on Liverpool. I'm looking at a player prop and a match prop. To start, we're looking at Mo Salah. To score or assist is -130 currently. I know that's a little bit of juice, but this line for the entirety of last season was -200, and it should not be playable. If you look at the last 3 seasons, the last 6 head-to-head matches between Newcastle and Liverpool, Mo Salah has had an assist in all 6 of the matches, as well as 4 goals. 11 goal contributions over 6 matches here. This is a line I have to take. If it was -150, -160, I'd still be giving it out on the show today. For the same matchup, I'm also taking Liverpool over 1.5 team total. This is another trend that has now hit in the last 6 head-to-head matches in a row. Liverpool are the better side with the better depth. I know that people are saying Florian Wirtz might be overrated. Give him time. He'll adjust. Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, Wirtz. This team is going to be unstoppable this season. And we have to remember that Newcastle is missing their best goal scorer and best player. Alexander Isak is still having troubles with the club and is not playing today. I expect Liverpool to win this game. Probably 2-1, 3-1, pretty Liverpool type of score.
All right. So we got Mo Salah to score or assist, and we've got Newcastle versus Liverpool. Liverpool over 1.5 team total at -120. Mike, you're here, which means it's possible on a day like this with the U.S. Open starting yesterday that you've got a U.S. Open pick. But before you give it out, and before we get to our MLB home run props and some of your MLB questions, which you're welcome to put in the chat, I do want to tell you that BetMGM has a U.S. Open promo. BetMGM account holders will receive U.S. Open odds boost today. Just make a U.S. Open bet and activate the boost. If you win that bet, you'll get extra winnings only at BetMGM. Well, the only way to use that boost is to actually have a U.S. Open bet, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get to that. We're going to get to the sports line pick, and we're going to get to the home run chart and your questions right after this message from our partners.
We need your sports news anywhere.
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. And Sniper, there was a question from Jodell Ashihi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I want you to get to it. And it's a good way for me to promote the fact that you're going to be on CBS Sports Network with me and many others, including Buckets, by the way, at 12 o'clock today to talk about some MLB storylines and best bets. Here's the schedule here, courtesy of Ben. Let's give Ben a shout out in the chat as well. Today at noon, Wednesday at noon, Thursday at noon, and Friday at 1. This is going to be a lot of football related. Not necessarily today, although we do talk college football today, but the Wednesday noon show is college football picks. Thursday and Friday are going to be a lot of football as well. So buckle up. CBS Sports Network is going to have a lot for you this entire week. But the question was, Matt Snyder, is it worth taking the Brewers at minus 185 today?
Yeah, I just looked at that. Obviously, pitching matchup overwhelmingly favors the Brewers there with Brandon Woodruff, but they've lost 6 of 9 right now. And I feel like we talked about this for weeks and weeks and weeks, that they were playing way too well. They were playing like one of the best teams in baseball history for over 2 months. So I feel like regression is starting to kick in with them having lost 6 of 9. They lost 2 of 3 at home to the Giants, who were awful before that series. So it's a stay away for me, because while they should win with that much juice and with regression kicking in, I'm just going to avoid it.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I actually don't have a pick for today. It's just one of the rare cases I don't have a pick. But I was thinking about laying the half a run in the first 5 with the Brewers, but then it wasn't sexy enough for me to put out there. But and I don't know exactly what to expect from Woodruff, especially since the last 4 teams he's been up against. It hasn't been like the best of competition. He's looked a little flat. So I'm just not 100% sure what to expect there.
I tend to agree.
Let's go to our SportsLine pick before we get to the U.S. Open pick. It is the Blue Jays. We are laying the run line with the Blue Jays at plus 150, a really nice plus number here. This one courtesy of Bruce Marshall. Again, Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5. All right, let's move forward to the U.S. Open. Mike, you've got a pick on a singles match. What is it?
Yes, U.S. Open time. We're going to back the American. Look, I will tell you, I bet against Americans a lot in the U.S. Open. That typically comes in later rounds. We are backing one here, though. Francis Tiafoe, going to back him in straight sets over Nishioka. Now, look, Nishioka is a guy that can be pesky, or notorious for being pesky earlier in his career. However, the current form has not been good, losing a lot of lower quality matches that he frankly used to be very, very competitive in, even ones on the Challenger Tour. When I look at Tiafoe, though, he wants to make a deep run in New York. And that starts with an early match here where he simply must take care of business quickly, save that body as things get difficult. When I look at this matchup where he has the edge, though, it's literally in every single department. I think his overall raw power and aggression will be enough to run Nishioka off the court here. We know Tiafoe, out of all the American players, is going to have massive, massive crowd support, which is a huge deal playing in America. But for me, it literally is just a price point here. You can find this minus 110. I really believe it should be minus 150. I think it's right at 60%. So I think it's a pretty big edge on Tiafoe to get his 2025 U.S. Open campaign started in a big way, but in a very quick way. We're talking about getting in, getting out with the win, moving on. I think he's ultra aggressive in this match early because he knows he has the edge and wants to keep that time on court down, because he is certainly going to be an underdog against some of the other big players on a hard court. Give me Tiafoe here in straight sets at your sportsbook. This may be listed as a set spread, which would be the same as minus 2.5 sets. Or a third way you could see it listed would be Nishioka to win a set, and then the no option would be the exact same bet as well.
Yeah, pay attention to the education on the tail end of that take, because some books are going to have it differently. If you're not used to betting tennis, like, you might see it listed and you might be a little confused. And Mike is really good about clarifying how to actually find the bet and bet it properly. So if you kind of missed it, just rewind this, 30 seconds and catch it. Mike, follow up.
Yeah, the follow-up to that would be also just, even if your book has exactly the 3-0 set, always check the other ways, because they're typically able to bet it multiple ways on every book. And when I release a play like that, or someone else may release a play like that, you can simply look for where markets haven't moved yet. So if a bunch of people start betting 3-0, that'll get a manual adjustment from a book, whereas some of those exact correlated markets won't. So always check that. Like you can see in the chat, someone's found a minus 2.5 at even money. I would bet if they had the 3-0, it would be, see, they're all minus 2.5 sets, minus 110. That's the exact same play. But David is talking about. I would not play -8. I do not want to mess with games. I just want him to I want to back him winning sets.
Yeah, it's Danny Brasco, Aaron Bailey, and then I think it was Irish John, both asked about the -7.5, -8. So you'd avoid that. You go to the sets.
Generally would avoid it here. I think that worst case scenario finds himself in a tiebreaker with Nishioka, but I personally prefer just set betting in this kind of a match because there's no real incentive for him. Like say to get a -7.5, -8, he's going to need multiple breaks of serve in a single set. And depending on when the first break of serve comes, there may not be a ton of extra motivation for an additional break when he knows he has such a significant edge.
Quite the education. Absolutely love it. Love the questions. We got a lot of soccer and baseball questions we got to get to, but Sniper, I couldn't help but notice the look on your face. What was it? What did the chat do to you to prompt that look?
Oh, I don't think there was anything that was like negative. There was somebody made a comment that said the Rangers are sucking me back in. Yeah, Joe Neuenfeld said Rangers are sucking me back in. I was like, that's the best thing about the Major League Baseball season is you watch every single day, and there are times that it feels like your team's never going to win a game again. And then when they get hot again, now you're back. And I think my face probably was, I thought about like just about a week ago with the Cubs. I thought no chance to win the NL Central, whatever, just worry about the Cubs solidifying a wild card. And then they got hot. And right now I'm like, yeah, 5 games is workable in 5 weeks. So now I'm looking at the division again. So it's funny that that's what the baseball season does to you.
Do we know how many games they have against the Brewers left?
None.
Oh.
0. Stay tuned on CBS Sports Network. We will talk about this on that show. I'm on there with you two on this, but the Cubs have the easiest, in my estimation, the easiest remaining schedule in Major League Baseball.
The only 2 teams they play with a winning record the rest of the way are the Reds and Mets, and they're not great teams right now. So, yeah.
Mike, forgive me for missing the fact that, I think you're opening the show with Sniper for maybe a couple of segments. I can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, those shows, just so everybody knows, a little cheat code, they typically, I can't say for sure, typically get posted on the SportsLine YouTube channel. Another reason to make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, maybe you want to turn your notifications on for all these special shows as well, NFL, college football, and of course, all sports related. Buckets, we got a couple of questions. Jeff Stenberg says, Buckets, Sevilla, Getafe, both teams, the score is +125. Do we fire this off? It feels free, he says.
Oh, I'm so scared of betting on La Liga in the first couple match days. I actually like both teams to score in this match, as well as the Athletic Club versus Valenciano bet. So I don't hate it, especially at plus odds. I do think it's worth a play. Bear with me, guys. I don't know what's going on. I do also want to say, Sia, that I texted Martin the Guru this morning and said, Martin, I want to know if you have a play you'd like to give out for everyone here on the show. He's on from Martin. He's on Inter versus Torino, Marcus Thuram to score or assist at -120 as well. So just a little bonus play for everyone there.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for that. Ray Garcia says, I'm late. Liverpool money line. Now, I know you had the play on Liverpool, but it wasn't money line. Any thoughts on this for Ray?
The line keeps moving, and I don't know why. It was -120 yesterday. It's +110 to +120 right now. I think there's value there. I've got them. My scoreline prediction was 3-1 Liverpool. I think the books are wrong on this one, and I hate saying that. So I like it.
Paul L says, this bet feels free, famous last words. Just keep in mind when Jeff Stenberg gives out a play or a question, he laces it with sarcasm as well, but he hits a lot of these as well when he says it feels free. Let's go to some more questions. Let's see. Mariners -130 money line and Mariners team total over 4.5 at +115, asks Ninja 13.
So I don't know if I love the Mariners money line here. Bryce Miller, he's just been shelled so many times this season. If anything, I would go for run scoring in this one. I believe it's JP Sears, and the Mariners should be pretty familiar with him and Bryce Miller. So I like run scoring, but I don't want to pick the Mariners to win on the money line there on that with that juice.
Another baseball question. Taj Amari L says, Sniper, do you like Mets on the money line?
Who are they even playing? Sorry, I I don't know if I studied
By
for
the
that.
Phillies, you don't like him on the money line.
Against
Christopher Sanchez and Good Isinga.
I have a play on that game, but it's on the Phillies offense that we're going to talk about at noon. And yeah, Sanchez versus Senga. No, I would want the Phillies.
That sounds like a team total over situation. It's Adam. Bucket says Athletic Bilbao. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Forgive me. Versus Real Vallecano. Are you just asking this question just to trip me up? Because mission accomplished. He says Athletic over 1.5 team total. Your thoughts, Buckets, at -115.
We're getting a bit of a skewed line in this matchup because Vallecano did look really good against Girona in match day 1, but I think Athletic Club should be one of the top 4 this season. I do like their team total today. I think that's a good look.
Danny Brasco's in the chat. He wants to know, Buckets, how golfing went yesterday.
So I thought we were playing 18. We ended up going to Top Golf, which is a bit of a different environment. Some of you might be able to expect that. They also make a golf club now that's called like the Big Boys Easy Hit or something, where the face of the club is about the size of my head. So when I hit with that, it went pretty well. Not going to lie.
All right. Let's see. Did we get to the, we haven't gotten to the MLB home run chart yet, have we? So let's take a look at that. SportsLine models top MLB home run plays. We go with Junior Caminero +240 versus +400. A lot of value there. James Wood, even across the board here at +360. In Riley Green, oh, that name looks familiar. +300 versus +400. Sniper, you got to love at least one of the names on this chart.
Oh, I love a little Riley Green on that one. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that more on the network show. And obviously, I had Riley Green on the over 1.5 total bases. We'll take a home run in the first and just cash everything. How about that?
All right. Mike, any other questions in the chat, whether they be tennis related or otherwise, that we didn't get to?
I don't think so. Yeah, no, I think we're good.
All right. There's a lot of Emery talk in the chat, and I must have missed the initial comment on. Oh, there we go. It's SportsLine. It's Ben who said Emery is also on the CBS Sports Network early each day. So Emery, I believe, in our final segment on that show is going to join. Calvin Wetzel's on that show as well. But Emery's going to join Tom Casale to get you set up for, I think, a lot of the Thursday, Friday games for college football week 1. So again, try to catch us on CBS Sports Network. If you don't, hopefully that hour-long show gets put on to the SportsLine YouTube channel. You're going to want to dial in. Everybody's complimenting Emery here. He's great. We know Tom Casale is great. There's a lot of content football-related coming up on CBS Sports Network and on this channel pretty much for the next 4 or 5 months, if I'm being honest. But that all really starts this week. So make sure you are completely dialed in. All right. I think that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. Mo Salah to score or assist -130. Also in that Newcastle versus Liverpool game, we're going Liverpool over 1.5 team total at -120. Then we go to Tigers run line -130 and Riley Green over 1.5 total bases at +105. You'll see the home run chart. We like Riley Green there as well. And then Francis Tiafoe, 3 love. -110. That's 3 sets to none. And Mike laid out all the different ways that might be presented at your sports book. So make sure you lay down that bet correctly. SportsLine pick, we go to Toronto Blue Jays run line at +150. That one courtesy of Bruce Marshall. And then again, the aforementioned MLB home run plays. We see Riley Green here with some significant value. We've also got James Wood and Junior Caminero. What an incredible show. We're going to have another incredible show at noon today on CBS Sports Network, and then on Wednesday, and on Thursday, and on Friday, noon, and 1 p.m. the rest of the way, and it's noon today as well. Really, really good stuff. Everybody, wish Big Cheesy to have fun at the game. It looks like that's what the chat is doing. Joe Neuenfeld says, no Sia picks makes me sad. Y'all have a pick tomorrow. I'm going to start to switch gears a little bit to the NFL, and of course, golf is going to be a little finicky with like sporadic golf tournaments every couple of weeks for the next few months. So I'll still have golf picks, but not this week in particular. Jenny Brasco says, tailing Salah, Green, and Tiafoe. Let's get it, fellas. This is going to be a great Monday. We had a 6-1 recap screen on Friday, a 12-6 recap screen today. Let's keep that momentum going into Tuesday's recap screen on behalf of Buckets, on behalf of Sniper, on behalf of Mike McClure and Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, 10 days away from NFL season, or maybe 9 days away from NFL season. I don't know. It's an argument between me and Mike. Either way, we're going to get out of here. Let's have a great Monday. See you on CBS Sports Network at 12 o'clock. I'm the Counselor of Cash. We rest our case.